amazing. Super excited to be here on this Friday afternoon with you, Nida and Ferzin. Welcome to our Hustle and Heart podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, about living your life that's authentic to you on your own terms. And we're super excited to kick it off as our number 3 episode.
Yes. And I'm excited to have you today, Ferzin. How about you introduce yourself? Tell us what you're building. What are you up to currently? What does life look like for you?
Life looks a little crazy right now. I am an entrepreneur. I have started my own skincare brand. It's in year 3 now, and it's been quite a roller coaster ride for me, as is entrepreneurship and life in general. So I am an entrepreneur. I'm a mother of 2, and I am married to the love of my life for 21 years. Life has been good. I am grateful for where I am. It's had its ups and downs, but I've had a pretty charmed life, and I'm happy to share my story with all of you.
That's great. Let's take you back to the start because we have some background and we shared that, as we were chatting. Just for our viewers and listeners, we've met for the first time, but we've spoken through WhatsApp messages, and I'm so excited to have you here because you're building something. You shared that you've been to like so many countries. You've stayed across like 3 different continents, right? What would you say that journey looked like? Because I feel like every new place is a new start and you have to start from scratch, from zero. Speak to more about, share your journey there. Like, how did it feel starting right from the scratch every single time? And then how does it feel being so well traveled and experiencing so many cultures?
So the very first time I traveled, I was in my early 20s. I grew up and I was born and raised in India, in Mumbai, which was back then Bombay. And I left when I was like 22 on an internship to the United States, San Francisco, best city ever. And while I was there, I was given the opportunity to start an office for the same company in Switzerland.
Amazing.
So I was basically in my early mid-20s. I grabbed the bull by the horns and went for it, loved it, every minute of it. Was very open to everything, all the experiences. And then while I was in Switzerland, I applied for my immigration to Canada because back then the love of my life, who's now my husband, was in Canada, had immigrated to Canada, and we were doing long distance for about 2 years.
Oh.
And so I applied for my immigration. It all came through, and I moved to Canada about 25 odd years ago. Wow, it really dates me. And then after living in Canada for about 8-9 years, my husband got the opportunity to go to the Philippines and start an office there. So I was on my second mat leave. So my oldest was 4 and my youngest was 3 months old.
Wow.
Sorry, my oldest was 2.5 at the time, and my youngest was 3 months old. And we went to the Philippines, and I lived in the Philippines for 1.5 years.
Wow.
And I quit my job. I had to because I was on mat leave. I couldn't take more than, back then it was only 1 year. And so we got back from the Philippines. I got my corporate job back. Life was good. And every time I moved, it was different because it was a different stage of my life. And I realized that it was not about the logistics so much. You can always figure out housing. You can figure out your paperwork, even languages. I picked up a language. I did German when I was in Switzerland.
Wow.
And you can do all of that. But I think the main thing that was challenging was lack of sense of belonging, right? Every time you move, you sort of recalibrate your identity a little bit. And that was challenging because Initially, it's very uncomfortable. You put yourself out there, you have to build connections, you have no network, no validation. But then, you sort of get used to it, and you put yourself out there, you build more meaningful connections, because you realize that it's not so much about proximity. Connections are about actually people connecting on a wavelength, right? And so that's why I have friends all over the world, and I speak to my mom, who I've not personally met for 6 years now, but I speak to her every single day. And I have friends who I can sort of just pick up the phone and, talk after years, but it feels like we just spoke yesterday.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so that's what resilience and traveling and moving to all these places taught me. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Like, your identity gets molded every single time, right?
That's amazing. That's quite a journey, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you said, when you're far away from your family, you have to build up that network of your family wherever you go.
True.
And you are so much more aligned with the people that you meet, because you're aligning with them on certain challenges that you're looking to solve, right? Or certain mission, whether it's entrepreneurship or picking up a language. So I think it binds you so much more as immigrants. We're all immigrants here in the room. We understand that the people we've sort of met and connected with on a much deeper level were those people that came from a similar sort of situation in their life. So thank you for sharing that. That's quite the journey.
Yeah.
Yep. You want to go? Speaking of this, you shared with me that you spent 15 years in the corporate career. What made you walk away from all of that and start something of your own? Like, what instigated this whole journey of, building something of your own, becoming an entrepreneur, especially in the Canadian market, right?
So for me, it wasn't so much about like that one eureka moment where it was like, oh, I can't take it anymore, I gotta get out, whatever. For me, it was more sort of over a period of time and thoughtful consideration and realization. I was at a stage in my life where I had security. It was a great paying job. Some would even call it golden handcuffs, because, when you're kind of stuck in a great paying job, you don't want to move out of that secure position. But in many ways, over a period of time, I sort of felt like I was not aligned. My personal self was not aligned with this particular journey. One of my favorite books is that of Dr. Seuss and
Love
the
Dr. Seuss.
Places You Go.
Yeah.
And it's one of those big books you give, your kids when they are graduating. Oh, I think our coffee is here.
Coffee's right.
So just understanding,
Thank you.
like, how have you
Thank
navigated
you.
that as you moved with like your husband to Philippines, and then what were some of the considerations for your career and things like that? I think that's super interesting too.
So when you come to a new country, or in your early 20s and mid 20s, it's all about people saying this is how life should be. You get a good job, you become a manager, then you become a director, and you've made it, and you make a certain pay, then you've arrived, right? And as immigrants, that's like what you are sort of conditioned to believe, right, when you come. And so my 20s were about that. I traveled, I saw all the high paying jobs. I was lucky enough to get one, land one, work hard at it. But then, as I was telling you, one of my favorite books is Dr. Seuss's Places You Will Go. And it's all about a book that you give to kids who are like maybe just graduating or whatever, and out there in the world about to sort of embark on their
one of my
journey.
favorite books.
Yeah. And so the very last two lines of the book are my favorite lines, and they say, "Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." So my corporate journey felt a lot like I was climbing the wrong mountain for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it took a while to realize that till I got halfway and more up and I was nearing the summit and I realized, hey, that's not really what I want or feel like I'm making a difference. Then of course there were external factors like COVID and all of that, which kind of maligned the whole experience a bit. You had to, as a leader, you had to let people go. And that was a bit soul crushing for me. And it gave me a realization that, that I don't enjoy doing that as a person. But, when you're aligned with a corporation and so many hundreds of people, you have to align yourself with that sort of mentality, right? And so net, it was a deliberate consideration over a period of time till the universe finally took the handcuffs off of me and pushed me down the cliff to make that plunge, which I was sort of like waiting on the edge for the longest time. And that happened in the form of a restructuring. And I got a payout and I realized I couldn't just go ahead and do the same thing again and again. So I gave it some thought, and then the opportunity of Kalaa was born. And I took that opportunity just like I took all the other opportunities of travel and me going to different places and doing different jobs. And I decided to explore it with the childlike curiosity and, sort of innocence and honesty, so that I could build something on my own terms and make an impact, hopefully. I don't know if you know, but Kalaa is basically aligned with the Khadi Village Industries Commission program in India. It supports local artisans, and all our products are handmade, and we package them and then bring them and have everyone explore the different interesting botanicals and scents from India. So again, they're all handmade, all natural.
Love that.
And so it gave me an opportunity to build something, start something. And now every time and every entrepreneur who's on Shopify will tell you that every time the, little order ding goes on Shopify, like the ka-ching, my heart sings a little bit. And it's a great feeling. And I realize in 14 years of working in corporate, I never felt that way before.
That is such amazing thing. And I love that you're, promoting local artisans and their products, because we do that way less. And, also starting like a South Asian brand in the Canadian market, that's a challenge, right? And for you to come up with something so unique and to build your presence over the last 3 years in that space, that's like really amazing. That's commendable, right?
Absolutely. Walk us through a little bit about how how this idea came to be, how the company came to be, how many people were involved, and like what were some of the considerations in building this,
also,
and the relationships you had to form with the artisans in India.
Yeah, how does that work out for you? How do you manage that all the way from Canada? Yep. Also, love to hear more on why did you choose the name Kalaa?
So Kalaa in Hindi means talent. It actually is one of those very versatile words. It could mean talent, it could mean skill. And so I thought that when I thought of the Canadian market, I wanted to pick a name that was simple to pronounce, simple to spell, but still had its unique authenticity and was true to the culture it was from, which is India. So I picked Kalaa. I had to also make sure that it was not picked by anyone else. So I had to do the whole IP, intellectual property, title search, all of that. So that's how I narrowed down on that. And then in terms of the people and connecting, we have a cooperative in India. And it's with this cooperative that we have the artisans coming and working there. And what the Khadi Village Industries Commission program does is it makes suppliers and certain raw materials available to artisans at very sort of reasonable pricing, so that they can access it and sort of make the products. And then this cooperative is what sort of binds it all together and helps them make these products, and then helps to package and then do the whole export detailing, etc. And then we import it here.
That's amazing. And do you get a chance to travel to India for all of this?
And that's the perk. My family is still in India. And, it's very grounding to sort of be living in a developed country and then keep traveling back to a, underdeveloped or developing country. India is on its way to becoming a superpower, I have to say. But it's always interesting, and it's very grounding and makes you appreciate, seeing who you are, where you've come from, and all those little pieces of you all sort of interconnected, living in two different spaces and trying to bring those spaces together.
That's amazing. I would ask, what's that one thing you miss about India? Like, is it, of course, the people, right? Your family and friends is a given. But, like, what's that one thing? Is it like a food thing? Is it like a friend? Is it like a place or a ritual?
So it is. It is a bit of everything, It's a whole experience, right? Like, it's immersive. It's about food, it's about the people, and of course, since I was born and raised there, and I've technically now spent more time in Canada, living in Canada than in India, it's still a huge part of me. And it's the warmth, I think, not only of the weather, but of the people that I think I sort of miss a lot. Because in India, there's so many people. We're one of the world's largest populous countries. There is never enough space. There is people everywhere.
That's true.
So, and you don't realize, you get so desensitized to it when you're living there. You don't think about it much, but when you live outside for a long time and then you go back and you then realize, oh my God, there's no space. But it's so fascinating when you go back. You see how the whole intricate system works. Like, people are all close together and it's busy, but everyone still respects everyone's space. And then there is this sense of, warmth and camaraderie, which just comes with, people being in your space.
Yes.
And it's natural, it's normal, back there. And it's just something you sort of immerse yourself in when you're there, and then you come back here and you're like, you miss it a little.
Yeah, warm countries give warm people,
I agree. I felt that too. I spent a summer working in Bangalore when I was in my 20s. And I felt that reverse culture shock coming back and not seeing people on the streets. I thought that was very jarring, because you get used to that sort of dynamic activity, the noise, everything,
Agree.
So I appreciate you sharing with us that experience. And I think, as you said, you as well, like 3 years ago, in, I'm sure, a very busy time in your life in terms of your family with 2 kids, a really busy competitive market skincare, because like we have big giants like Sephora and things like that, but there's certainly a lot of interest around organic skincare. A lot of people really are interested in skincare is a huge category. What were some of your inspirations to go into skincare? What was your own personal story for why you think this is so important?
So, as a person, I have never been one to be into makeup a lot as a female, which is kind of contraindicative, right?
But just shout out, your skin is amazing.
Yes. You're too kind. You're too kind. But so I never really wore makeup that much growing up. And even through my 20s
need
and
it.
30s, you're very
The
kind.
natural glow.
The natural glow.
So when I think of skincare, I think of simplistic ingredients. I think of simple rituals. I don't want 10 different steps for my routine. And I can see it with women, my peers. We're struggling with so much, with motherhood, with careers, with, friendships, relationships, and all of that. And why do we need 10-step routines to look good? And
Wow.
and out of that, why would those 10-step routines be with ingredients that you cannot pronounce, or that aren't simplistic or organic, or stuff that you get, that you can relate to? And so when I thought of skincare, I think of clean, I think of fresh, and simple. And those are the key sort of elements that I incorporated in my brand. And I just want to make skincare accessible to everyone. I don't want it to be complicated. My skincare brand is rooted in Ayurveda, but people tend to intellectualize Ayurveda so much in this day and age. And then you have sort of people piggybacking on it, and then, analyzing the hell out of it. And I want it to be simple. I want it to be accessible. And one product should be able to do multiple things, not the other way around. You don't need 3 products to do one thing, which is clean your skin. You could do one product and you could have it do multiple things. We do that for our apps, and we have, as humans now, we've evolved to a point where an app does multiple things, your devices do multiple things. Why should skincare be any different?
Right.
And that's personal and individualistic. So anyways, long story short, those were sort of the key elements that kind of helped me build my brand and the values of my brand, and just keep it simple.
Love that. Speaking of skincare, let's quickly do some rapid fire questions. Get into it. We can go one by one if you want. I have a question for you since we spoke about skincare. What's that one skincare product you can never live without?
So that's simple. I actually have it right here because I really don't go anywhere without it. It's my cucumber and mint toner.
Yeah.
So it is made out of cucumber extract and mint extract, and it has rose water in it as well.
Wow.
To maintain the pH balance of your skin. So the beauty about this is it also doubles up as a body mist. So it's refreshing in the summer, and it's all simple organic ingredients. And in the winter, it's, also hydrating, right? And you can use it as a deo, as a body mist, as toner to remove excess oil or excess makeup after you've cleaned your skin. So this is my go-to. And I've got one for each of you.
Thank
Yes,
you so
thank
much.
you so much for that. First time a guest is getting stuff. I'm always excited to receive skincare products. I'm excited to use this one. And like you said, it's one product and many uses. So, we're going to plug in your website too so that people can, look at your products. This is especially with Ayurveda, right? Ayurvedic products are simple, natural, ready to use. Amazing.
That's wonderful. And since we're talking about sort of taking time to take care of ourselves, it's an important thing about rituals and honoring ourselves, self-care and everything. What are some of the rituals you do for yourself to manage entrepreneurship and the many different roles that you have to handle in your life and personal, professional life? What are some ways that you reset and recalibrate your energy?
So it's very simple. I like to keep things simple. I always ground myself when things get overwhelming. And as, I grow older, I realize that life is not about balancing different things with equal weight. You have to keep prioritizing, and sometimes, you know, you show up for one thing 110%, and then some of the other things sort of suffer. But it's the course of life, and you have to realize when things start being difficult or don't bring you joy, and move away from those things and just focus on things that bring you joy and help you, you know, create an impact, be more meaningful as a human being. And this all comes with age and experience. And I'm, you know, at that point where I have gathered enough experience to appreciate that. And so I show up every day for what matters the most on that day. So if I have to be an entrepreneur 110% from one particular couple of hours in the day, I will. If I have to show up as a mom for the rest of the hours, I will. As a wife, daughter, sister, you know, and we all do that, right? But the idea is to show up 100% for the role that you're playing at that time.
So as we're wrapping up, last, maybe a thoughtful question to you. You're juggling so many things: entrepreneurship, motherhood, you've started this new thing, you were in the corporate environment. What are the next, and it's a cliched question, right? What are the next, like, 5 years look like for you, 10 years? What are you trying to build next? Do you want to grow Kalaa to the next, you know, biggest skincare brand? We never know, in Canada or maybe North America.
Launch
What
with,
is your
like, a
next
natural store, you know,
Yeah.
naturopathic store?
Well, yeah, that would be
Healthy
exciting. What's
Planet or
next for
something,
you?
Yes.
Well, you guys have all the ideas. Why do you need me to talk? No, I appreciate that. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not big on 5-year plans.
Oh.
I think life is ever changing, ever evolving, and we can see that with all that's happening. A couple of years ago, nobody would have predicted there was going to be a pandemic, and nobody could have predicted we're going to be in a full-blown war like we are. Nobody can predict, like, the price of gas is going to go up or down. Well, it's going up and will remain up for a long time. But as you know, life is always very unpredictable. So as an entrepreneur, what I appreciate is that I have the ability to be lean at this point in my life and pivot as and when needed. So that's key in the first couple of years while building a business. My aim is to get Kalaa products in the hands of as many people as possible. I already ship to the US, besides Canada, US, Sweden,
Amazing.
Australia, UK. And I want to keep it growing, whether that is in the form of retail or continues to grow as a community, or both and more. I don't know. All I'm doing is exploring this, as I said, with childlike curiosity and the honesty to sort of build it as a meaningful brand.
I love that. I would say, what's that one advice you would give women who want to start something of their own as a business? Like, what's that one thing you need to keep in mind, or one piece of advice?
Or one thing that maybe you should avoid when people give you that as advice.
So when you start anything new, there is always a lot of fear and trepidation. And the only advice I would give to anyone who starts anything new is to just go for it. Don't overanalyze. You know, do your calculated risks, but do not overthink every single thing. Try to keep the big picture in mind. Don't get caught up in the weeds. And every day there should be some action to move the needle a little bit further. Even if it's just 1% or 2%, if you could end the day feeling that you have moved the needle even by 1%, that's success.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us, Ferzin. This
Very
was
welcome.
simply amazing. It does not look like we met you for the first time. And I know you were a little nervous about the podcast, but it looks like you were all natural.
Well,
You shared
thank
some
you.
This is
really great
wonderful.
insights.
You're a great storyteller.
Well,
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity, and it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
And we're going to plug in Kalaa store for all our viewers to go check it out and have a look at your amazing products.
Thank you. Thanks, Nida.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.